manufacturers were queuing up to have their brand driven by James Bond. For them, it's a license to sell.
Helps if you open the door. Your file.
The British agent helps to promote a variety of brands, from beer to cars, computers to mobile phones. Product placement is big business, worth $7.5 billion worldwide this year. But the European product placement market is young. For example, Italy only allowed it for cinema productions in 2004. The director of Milan's movie inside agency gives the figures.
Spielberg said that if he makes such beautiful and media-friendly films, it's because he gets 30% of his budget from sponsors.
Dagli sponsor riceve più del 30% di sostegno finanziario. In
Italy, it's only 1, 2, 3%.
How's it going, buddy?
If a product is placed, it has more than just a cameo role. It has to feature prominently. In this Italian film, the main character has an article written about him in a top Milan financial magazine, and many scenes are shot in a kitchen designed by an upmarket brand name. And the practice is not limited to films. At a first hearing in the EU Parliament, legislators approved the relaxation of laws concerning advertising and product placement in television, leaving individual countries to decide. German MEP Ruth Hieronymi proposed the bill.
The product placement is forbidden, but member states if they don't say no, it is allowed for special formats. And this is only fictional formats, movies and sports.
The aim is to make European television more competitive, with more money enabling it to challenge American programs. But critics of the legislation warn of the dangers. They say that European TV will become Americanized and the product will eventually be the star of the show. Consumer groups want on-screen messages or logos to tell viewers they're being sold to, before, during and after the placement. The head of one such group says that what is at risk is editorial control.
Some cookies with it?
Cookies and milk.
Cookies and milk.
Advertisers are insisting on script control. The writers actually have to write their scripts in a certain way as to show the products in a good light. They couldn't, for example, at all have a character, take up something and say, ooh, and, I don't like that or something. It must be, wow, this is wonderful.
With the digital TV age bringing more and more channels, commercial stations are losing advertising revenue. Product placement can compensate for this without the product affecting the script, says Ross Bigham, head of the European Commercial TV Association.
Yeah, we're going to tell her as well. There is a proposal before the Parliament to say that product placement should never have undue prominence. What that means in practice is that we can use a product in a soap opera, but we can't make the soap opera about the product. So yes, two characters can have a drink and can be seen drinking a brand of mineral water or of beer. But what we can't do is then have a 5-minute conversation about how nice the mineral water is.
The legislation does stipulate, however, that product placement should not extend to informative programs or children's shows. As Italy tries to open up its TV advertising, the two main operators, Rai and Mediaset, welcome the new bill. Pierluigi Malassani of Rai is looking forward to the financial benefits it will bring.
With all the restrictions that cover the advertising of alcohol and medicinal products, we're in principle in favour of product placement in certain specific programmes, such as works of fiction. But of course, in the future, we can also discuss other sorts of restrictions when necessary.
With the reforms, Euro MPs have decided to relax the rules. Still, only 12 minutes of adverts per hour will be allowed, although channels can choose when to slot in commercial breaks. But does the viewer run the risk of an advertising overdose, what with all the product placement and promotion? Mediaset's Gina Neri believes this is simply scaremongering from television's greatest rival.
That's just a theory put forward by editors in the written press who think they're in competition with television, even in terms of product placement. But do you really think that if a product is seen on telly, let's say it's worn by a beautiful woman, for example, it's the same as if it's in a newspaper, even a color edition?
In the case of news programs, televised films and kids shows, ad breaks will only be allowed every 30 minutes. Although this satisfies Conservative and Liberal parties, it disappoints some who wanted it to be only every 45 minutes. Socialist MEPs wanted what's called prop placement, where companies do not pay to put their products in a fictional TV scene. This would ensure program makers maintain their editorial control. One issue that unites the political right and left is reform covering new technologies. The new legislation, which is called Television Without Frontiers, also applies to pay-per-view, internet and mobile phone TV. European Commissioner Viviane Reding underlines the ultimate goal.
There
should be open access to European works. Their problem has been they don't easily travel across borders. Pay-per-view films could be a way for more people to watch European output. That's why this legislation also looks to promote these works through video on demand.
MEPs are encouraging audiovisual providers to create a code of conduct with regards to junk food adverts during children's programming. A defeat for consumer groups who wanted to see a blanket ban as a means of fighting obesity among children. Following the first reading in Brussels, members have taken the bill back home to study. It could come into effect by 2008. Then we can expect to see more brand names, even between commercial breaks.